Hey everybody, it's Digital Moxie coming at you. It's gonna be 11 o'clock. It's a Monday night, and man, I have been missing in action for a couple months. I had a couple, I was work-related situations, emotional situations. Yes, I said emotional. There was a girl I was seeing, and we broke up, and it put me in a little bit of a kilter where I really didn't want to do any YouTube. I didn't want to do any videos, And the thing is that it's a long story, but it's just life. Life comes at you, and I had to make a video. A lot of crazy things have been happening in the world, and a little bit of it was because I was lacking motivation on doing my YouTube channel or doing my podcast. And the reality is that, as a YouTuber and as a person, I want to have a YouTube channel and I want to have a podcast. I think I like both mediums, and YouTube offers you, both opportunities to have both. And the thing is that I was really ambitious at the beginning of the year. I came in strong. I was putting videos out. I was working 2 channels. And I just started letting my life, everybody has a life. So, the things that were going on in my life started taking a little bit more precedence over me doing my favorite thing, and that's YouTube. And the thing is that the funny thing about that is when you start getting involved in other things versus what you really care about, you start getting pulled away. You start getting put into a different frame of mind, and you get put in a situation where like you're looking for what you want to do. And for me, this is what I like to do. And I could have a whole podcast on what's happened to me since I did something with Digital Moxie. I got a little bummed out because I didn't, trying to understand this podcasting or trying to understand having a YouTube channel. It's a growing process. I want to bring you guys interesting stories. I want to tell you what's going on in my neighborhood. I want to tell you what's going on in general. But then you get stuck in a rut. You start thinking like, oh man, that's not good enough. But the thing is that you got to stop. I had to stop worrying about whether that was good enough. And like for instance, I was gonna go see Deadpool and Wolverine. That's like the biggest movie in America right now. And I was laying in bed. I was watching TV. I was watching the Cub game, and they lost. Yesterday they traded Christopher Morel for anybody who has any kind of baseball knowledge, and they got a third baseman from Tampa Bay, Isaac Paredes. I looked at the trade. I said that looks like a decent trade. The Cubs are not going to do nothing this year, but I'm getting ahead of myself. That's not what this podcast is about. It's just more or less me coming back to the medium and just putting it on the line. And the thing is that's what Digital Moxie is all about. It's going to be about the topics that I like to talk about. It's going to be just like a full on podcast basically. I've been watching a lot of podcasts in the last month. I've been watching a lot of Joe Rogan, or hearing a lot of Joe Rogan, Tucker Carlson. I haven't really heard I like Ben Shapiro, and I'm drawing a blank right now. But there's another podcaster that I was really enjoying. I was on YouTube. I was watching the White Underbelly. I listen to a lot of gangster mafioso podcasts. I just find that stuff interesting. You can get stuck on that as well. And the thing is that I'm unsticking myself by getting in front of this camera and just purging myself of all the information and all the useless information that I got jumping around and floating around in my head. Like, even in the last few months, I was busy being a grandfather. I had my grandson over here. And, kids are kids. It was hot. It was hot. I live on the northwest Indiana, right next to Chicago. And it gets hot up here. In the summertime, you can get up to 99, 100, 110 degrees, 105 degrees. It wasn't that hot. It was like in the 90s, which is still hot, you know. So my grandkid, he wanted a swimming pool, and you know, I want to put a swimming pool on my property, but you know, it's a big commitment to get a swimming pool. I want to get a swimming pool. I want to get a jacuzzi, you know, a hot tub to be able to lay in there, and you know, because I have a physically demanding job. And, you know, the bones are getting old. I need somewhere to lay my body in and reinvigorate myself. So the problem with these swimming pools, I got the box right here. Let me show it to you real quick. It's these little plastic bluescape inflatable swimming pools, you know. You know, I must be getting old, because back in the day I wouldn't even care if it's like, yeah, put it out in the yard. It's going to kill my grass, but go ahead and do it anyway. But now, it's like, it bothers me. I was like, no. I filled it up. I let the kid play in the swimming pool. Then I didn't see him for a couple weeks. I took that swimming pool out. I dumped all that water. And that's another thing, too. You fill up a pool like that, that thing's going to cost you $50 just to fill up in water. The swimming pool itself costs $50, and if you're lucky, you have that maybe for 1 or 2 seasons, you know? Total waste of money. Total waste of money. I would rather invest in a proper swimming pool, but then you got to worry about having a fence. Then you got to worry about really being diligent about kids being in that pool when you're not around, and it's just a lot of responsibility to have anything that involves children being supervised and a possible opportunity at dying. You know, I don't want nothing ever to happen to my grandkids or to any other kid, you know, when it comes to that stuff, you know. So yeah, you know, that was a weekend that I spent hanging out with my grandson. He got me to buy him he even got a swimming we bought a fishing pole. He got that one. And he got the Spider-Man one. I was like, man, this guy is really, he might not say much, but he knows what he wants, you know. So I didn't really take him fishing yet. I have to get a license. You don't want to get caught by the DNR, you know, without having a fishing license. That's a fine. You know, I'm about following the rules when it comes to that stuff. So I've kind of like not fished with him yet, and I'm gonna kind of wait. He has a sister that didn't come. Kind of wait for them to get together so I can take them both fishing. To me personally, I've never really been a fisherman, and some people love it, man. I don't know if I'm gonna find it to be boring or how my reaction is gonna be to fishing, you know. So, you know, besides being a grandfather, I took a trip. I took a trip with someone that I felt comfortable with, but you know, relationships they turn bad, man. They fall apart. Sometimes they fall apart without you even knowing it, you know, and this is the case of this. I don't want to go into too many lurid details, but all I can tell you is that women are something else. I mean, I love women, don't get me wrong, you know, but you got to know when it's time to get out. And once they do you wrong, or once you sense that it's starting to go down the bad path, I saw a meme one time, and it said, trying to get back with your girlfriend is like putting a piece of shit back into your ass. You know, I always thought that was hilarious. But in a lot of ways, you know, I think the hardest part for people who've known each other for a long time, they just feel like, you know, they got to, you know, they have a lot of, I want to say emotional bond. An emotional bond, which basically is half of it is probably scar tissue just from the ups and downs of a relationship, and then it just, you know, you're like connected to this person. And the thing is that the breaking away of a relationship like that can be very difficult. And the thing is that I don't want even me personally, I don't want to do this. I don't want to break up with this person, but I'm put in a position where I have no choice. I have to eliminate this relationship. And along the way, as an individual, you got to learn how to be sometimes you got to you have to remind yourself who you are and what you are, you know. And the bottom line is, you got to be a man. You can't be a simp. My biggest concern with being a person in a relationship is, yes, I understand that you have to have a certain level of vulnerability, but you can never do it at the cost of your own self-respect. You can never do it at the cost of your own self-pride. And the thing is that, you know, traditionally, I believe a woman and a man should have mutual respect for each other. There should never be any vulgarity exchanged between two people who are involved in a relationship. I think that it erodes a relationship. It hurts a relationship when that happens. So, because it happened to me in my first relationship when I was in my 20s. I'm now in my 50s. I'm 55. My birthday's next month. I'll be turning 56. So, you know, when you start getting older, you start looking at things and you start evaluating things. Then you got to start realizing, like, look, man, you only get so many shots at this, and you got to get it right. And sometimes you never get it right. It's just life. It's just what you're willing to work with and what you're not willing to work with. But sometimes you got to put your foot down, and you got to be strong enough to say, like, enough is enough already. And the thing is that, man, it's a process, dude. It's a process. And, you know, in a weird way, we got a lot of support. You know, if you have good friends that'll tell you, like, sometimes you got to talk to your friends for them to tell you stuff you already know. Like, you know, somebody to remind you, like, you know, you look like a complete fool doing that. And you're like, yeah, you're right. I do look like a fool. And the thing is that there's just certain things, me as an individual, I can't accept anymore. There was stuff that I would give passes on back in the day. And maybe that was my fault, you know. But as you get older and you start realizing, like, look, man, that can't go. And some of the things, you know, that you talk about are just, you know, the if that person's really committing to you, or if that person's really putting the work into the relationship, or are they just really just gaslighting you, and they feel comfortable around you, and then they want you to be around them. You know, in a weird way, I always tell them, you get the good version of me, because I was into that person. I really like that person. But the thing is that when you get slighted, you start evaluating who you are. As far as that, when I say you start evaluating, I basically mean I looked at myself and I said, look, something's not right here. I got to make some changes. And the thing is that if you don't make the proper changes, then you're gonna. It's the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same things over and over again, thinking or expecting a different result, and it doesn't work that way. And you know, I would be lying to you if I told you, like, oh, you know, I'm in a holding pattern, and I'm staying strong with what I'm holding. But you know, I'm a human, man. You know, and sometimes a person gets lonely, and sometimes a person needs to be able to communicate with other people, and you know. But the point is this: the answer to that kind of question is, like, look, man, there's a million fish in the sea. Don't get stuck on this one fish. You might be missing out on a bunch of different people that are way better than you and who would instantly make you forget who you're dealing with. You got to always take an account how you feel about yourself, how that person makes you feel, and also you got to look in the future and say, like, you know, is this person really gonna improve my life emotionally, financially even? And when I say financially, I don't mean a woman giving me money. I mean a woman becoming part of my household and working towards the same goals that I want to have, or that we want to have, you know. And the thing is that maybe I'm doing something wrong, because I feel like I've been chasing my tail for a long time. And the thing is that I think that I finally got sick of it, and I just started rejecting and not accepting just the subpar treatment or the subpar relationship. So I literally just started being a little bit more of a hard ass about things. And yeah, it started creating tension, started creating some problems, and there was even a separation already, and I was already on my way of being done with that person. But I got, like Al Pacino in that one movie says, I got pulled right back in, you know. I thought when I thought I was out, I got pulled right back in. And that's how I felt. I got pulled right back in. This time it was only for a couple weeks, but then I just was really starting to implement who I really am. I mean, the evolved person that I am, you know, as far as from when that person met me to who I've become now, and from what I expect to from what I expected back then to what I expect now. And the thing is that, you know, you got to start taking stock in yourself. And I did. And, you know, the results, and I'm walking by myself. I'm by myself. And the thing is that I can't be afraid of it. You know, I thank God that I'm healthy enough to move around, do the things I got to do. I thank God I have a good career. I have a good job. And the thing is that, you know, you ever feel down like that, you put a little Gloria Gaynor, I will survive. I like that version, but then I also like the version from Cake, you know, I will survive. I saw them in concert, actually, I want to say last year, you know. So, yeah, so after all that drama happened to me, I kind of got into a little bit of a rut. I didn't really want to produce anything or put anything out there. And then I just like said, you know what? My content is going to be my experience. What I went through is what I'm going to share, you know, and you know, I'm just like anybody else, man. You know, I'm a human. I get up in the morning, I go to work, I come home, I take care of the house, I do what I have to do. And see, but my life's a little bit different now. I'm actually a bachelor. I'm a soon to be 56-year-old bachelor, and I get to do what I want to do. But the thing is that I haven't really done what I want to do. I've held myself back. So this is part of me doing what I want to do, and that's committing to my YouTube channels. And the thing is that it just allows me to feel free. It just allows me to really open up and give myself therapy. This is like my own therapy right here. You know, I would love to get into some juicy details, you know, but I don't know. I don't want to share that information off the bat. You know, I might, you know, if you follow the channel, I might give you guys a rundown. I mean, not that my personal life is that interesting, but it's a story nonetheless. And people like to, you know, if you're going to connect with me, you're going to connect through my life experiences. You're going to connect through the things that I go through. Today was Monday. I've been on a school job. I'm a union pipe fitter. I work in industrial. I work in commercial. I work in, I install pipes. I take out pipes. You know, I have a big scope of things that I can do in the trade that I'm involved in. And if you're a young man and you're listening to this podcast and you need a good career, be a pipe fitter or become a YouTuber. You know, if your passion burns for YouTube and become a pipe fitter. So, you know, I go on projects and they finish. Sometimes it's a 3-month project. Sometimes it's a 3-day project. This job here lasted me about 3 weeks, and I got laid off. So what happens is today was my last day of work. I reported for work, did whatever work I was assigned, but it was the understanding is that I get paid up until that day, and then I'm off. I'm late. I'm unemployed with that company. Luckily, I have enough connections, or I have enough people that I work with that say, "Hey, man, we got a shutdown." That's like when you go to a plant and they shut down their equipment so they can work on it. And sometimes those last 2-3 days. So I got that lined up. I actually found work for the next 2 days, which is good. It's actually good because it's going to be overtime, and only bad part, it's going to be at night. So, you know, it's just the life of a tradesman. And the thing is that the upcoming season, a lot of shutdowns are going to happen. If you haven't heard, there used to be a steel mill called Southworks on the south side of Chicago. It's affiliated with the Gary Works. That's in Gary, Indiana. But what happened is they closed that plant down, and it was humongous. It was almost as big as it's like a little mini city. They had their own police department. They had their own little hospital. It was, you know, if you know anything about history and then you know about how these big companies began, there was always a big need for manpower, and some of these places had 15,000, 20,000 employees, you know, and in an area that I came from, every week there was at least 3 or 4 or 5 different steel mills in this area, and every week they'd pay out, they'd pay their people, and think of all that money circulating in this little area, Northwest Indiana, Chicago, and whatever outlying suburbs. It was a great time growing up in the city, you know, as a kid, you know, back in the 70s, you know, because I'm from the 70s as a kid. But then, you know, we hit hard times. The steel mills closed. A lot of people were unemployed. A lot of people had to shift, had to change their career outlook and get retrained. So this vacant land was, it's just sat there. It's the last biggest parcel left in the city of Chicago that's lakefront and hasn't been developed yet. So this company from California, I mean, there was several companies vying for this area in the past. There was a company, Solo Cup. They wanted to build a little industrial park there, you know, and make cups. But they backed out. Then another organization came in. They wanted to build houses and apartment buildings. But the thing is that the land, I mean, let's be honest, the land was not. It was still kind of contaminated, and that was 20 years ago, you know. So hopefully the remediation of that land has come full circle, and you do have an opportunity to build on there. But you know, things like that are always a little screwy. I'm sure you can never get all of that. I mean, that plant was there for almost 100 years, 80 years easily. So and they did remediate the area for a while, but like I said, it takes a long time for that kind of stuff. You either got to take it out or you just got to sit for a long time. I'm talking about, you know, hundreds of years, but that wasn't going to be the case here. They had to take out the dirt, put in new dirt, plant trees, plant shrubbery, and, you know, just clean up that area slowly. And if they're at this point now where they feel they can do that, that's why they're inviting these businesses. And if they're not ready and they're still doing it anyway, then buyer beware, you know. But they're going to bring this quantum computer. So I guess it's one of the first, this is like some of the newest technology coming to this area. They're going to build a cryogenic system that, you know, that involves piping, that involves trades, that involves millions of dollars. It's going to be a pretty big project. And it's, to me, in my mind, I see it revitalizing that area again, because it becomes like a technological hub. So, you know, kids in the area start learning about quantum computer, you know, about everything involved with being into computers, which they should already be doing now. I mean, it's kind of hard because you have the emergence of AI and you know, that's still getting shook out. You know, we don't know who's valuable and who's not valuable yet, but that's going to come real fast, you know. And the way I look at it, it's a project that's happening. It's a project that I'm going to be able to benefit from my own, you know, for my own employment outlook. And that's something more consistent that goes on. This can be for a couple years, but that's not the only job in the area. The steel mills and the oil refinery in the area is going to put up a hydrogen plant they're going to create hydrogen as an energy, and they're going to feed all these other plants in the region. And that, again, is another $1 billion project. So things are looking up. But you got these elections coming, and things change during the elections. Hopefully the right person wins, and there's fat times for a while, there's employment, and things get better in the country. Because in the last few years, I haven't seen too many good things in this country. And it's scary. It's scary to be an American now, because, you know, there's a certain level of insecurity. Because you don't know, I mean, when you see a president almost get assassinated on live TV, then you start wondering, like, was that a fluke, or was that something that was planned, you know, by the cabal or whatever, whoever planned that stuff, you know. And you know, they want to blame. I heard that they want to blame Iran. I say, come on, man. You know, people think. What do you think? The American public is really stupid? I mean, this is ridiculous now. And also what's ridiculous is the blasphemy that the Olympics, every time you see one of these big worldwide shows, they show a lot of blasphemy. You're seeing sacrifices, and you're seeing ritualistic stuff happening, and they're masking it with the concept of entertainment, but they're lying to you, man. You're actually witnessing some satanic ritual. Just to see the stuff you see on the Olympics, the pale horse riding, that, you know, the pale horse in the Bible is death. Them mocking the Last Supper. I mean, come on, man. It's so blatant. It's in your face. It's so disrespectful. And I'm going to be honest. I am a Catholic, and I believe in Jesus Christ, and I believe in God. And the way things are going in this world, there's pestilence, there's fires, there's earthquakes. Yeah, I'm gonna think like, you know, we're in the end times, man. You always wonder, like, well, I'll get ready when the end times are here. Well, your whole life is an end time, because my end time could be tonight when I go to bed. So basically, you always got to be ready. But what we want to basically say is, like, when the shit hits the fan, I'm here to tell you that it's starting to hit the fan. You might hear like, bloop, 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 bloop. Pretty soon it's going to be whomp, whomp. I feel like the currents of war are being stirred. The divisions of communism versus democracy, and real democracy versus fake democracy. You know, it's just a big cesspool, man. And you know, I don't want to be a downer, and I don't really want to focus on these politics. But the reality is that, you know, we live in our own little bubble. You know, if we don't see people on the street trying to kill us, then we're doing all right. If we don't see an invading army, or if we don't have an earthquake in a neighborhood, then everything's cool. But it's not cool, because this kind of stuff's happening everywhere. There's wars happening everywhere. There's your government telling you, like, look, be excited about this war, or hey, we're going to go to war on this one. When does it end? You know, I don't know. I've lived my whole life, and we've always been at war on some level. And I guess, you know, you got to be one of the good ones. And you got to stay focused, and you got to move forward. And for me, that definition is like, be a good person. Get up, go to work, help your neighbor out. You know, embrace your faith. I mean, you know, we're living in a very tumultuous time. We're living in a very, very scary world. I mean, just this whole transgender phenomena. You know, I'm going to tell you, I've said it before. Like, I don't subscribe to that. I subscribe to what I was raised. I'm a heterosexual male who watched a lot of action movies in the 80s and the 90s, man. You know, I'm an alpha male. I'm a toxic male. I'll even go as far as saying I'm a toxic male, because I believe in being a man. I love being a man. I am a man. And when I see something that I'm not familiar with, that doesn't mean I'm not going to cozy up to it. You do you, and I'll do me. That's how I look at it. But when you start infringing on me, then I got to say something. I got to start doing stuff. I mean, they took away my favorite TV show, Doctor Who. I used to love Doctor Who. But that show started going down the toilet, because all the messaging that they put in it now, it's just horrible. A show that, I'll talk about another show that's pretty good, is The Boys. But it's not that good, because they have a lot of messaging in it too. But there's a story in there that's pretty decent. But they pile on all this other crap on there. And it's almost sometimes unbearable to watch. But when they do give you the good story, it's a good story, you know? I've gotten to the point where I don't even want to watch TV. I don't want to watch the level of brainwashing that's going on in Hollywood. And the thing is that's why formats like YouTube, in my opinion, unless you're getting censored and you're not spewing hate speech, you know, you should be okay, you know? And the thing is that I can give you a perspective. I don't have to attack any groups. I could just tell you my stance. You know, and there's still a lot of rules. And you're not 100% secure with your own YouTube channel, because if something happens where they don't like what you're saying, they're going to pull your channel. Me, you can pull my channel. I'm nobody. I have 25 subscribers on this channel, and I got maybe 50 on Eddie V Unplugged. And that's not a lot. But the point is that what if I build it up and it becomes a lot, and it becomes like it becomes my sustenance where I'm making money off of being a YouTube personality. That would be awesome. I'm not gonna lie to you, man. If I could supplement my retirement for when I retire, and this would be what I do, then I'd love it. I would definitely love it. I'd welcome it with open arms, But then again, when you do something like that, there's a lot of responsibility attached to it, And the thing is, I showed you I'm not responsible. Look, I look at the last time I posted a video on digital Moxie. It's been a while. I was doing a couple videos, but I was putting them on my other channel. But you know what? I go through these phases when I get depressed or I get down, and then I got to rebuild myself. I got to build myself and come back better, and I got to come back stronger. For 3 months, I went to Vegas, and I was separated from that female I spoke of earlier, and I went into a little bit of a tizzy. But what happened is, what I did is I built a fence. I focused on my yard, because even when you're down, you can't be out. You got to keep on getting up. You got to find your purpose. You got to keep moving forward. You got to do something. And the thing is that I didn't feel creative, so I didn't want to make any videos, and I should have. That's when I actually should have made videos. And the thing is that I'm here. I'm making my video. I was gonna go see Deadpool tonight, but I was like, it's 10:30 at night. That's when I know I'm old. I mean, because if I was like in my 20s or my 30s, I was like, I'm going to go see Deadpool and Wolverine, because I don't have work tomorrow morning. I actually do have a job tomorrow, but I don't start that job till the evening. So I might go to see the movie tomorrow, and I might make a video about me going to see the movie. Then I'm gonna give you my reaction about the movie. But I don't know if that'll be on Digital Moxie or it'll be on my other channel, Eddie V Unplugged. The thing is, I want to bring better content, more engaging content. And the thing is, I sometimes watch some of these videos with these 20-something-year-old girls, like, "Hi fam, I'm here and I did this," and I guess people want to know the authentic part of who you are. And the thing is that, is it because there's not enough authentic people out there, or because we're starved for relationships on some level, on some type of like proxy relationship? Because the actual truth about it is that when you watch TV or you watch YouTube videos and you see the host, oh, that guy seems like he's fun, or he's kind of cool, and then you just start following that podcast or that YouTube video, and it's just fun. And the thing is that the yoke or the burden of being a creator is always got to bring the goods to the consumer, to the people who consume your videos. So if all I got is me, then that's what I'm going to give you, is me, So I'm still questioning the length of time. I like the way Joe Rogan does it. If he gets a good guest on, he can go for 3-4 hours. I wouldn't mind doing that, And the thing is that I still haven't had a guest on my channel yet. And you'd be surprised, a lot of people are squeamish about getting on camera with you. And slowly but surely, I'm buying my equipment, so it'd be more professional. So if I'm talking to somebody here, I'll be able to have another camera zoomed in on that person, maybe click the angle, change the view, and just make it a better experience. I'm all about improving the experience. I started my YouTube journey. I've always been on a YouTube journey, but this is 2024 is probably the actual solid year that I really. Well, I started in 23. I started a channel in 23. I got up to 110 subscribers. But the content that I was putting on there, I didn't think could be really monetized. So I kind of just let that channel go. And I still got 110 subscribers on it. And so I started Eddie V Unplugged and Digital Moxie about the same time. And if you go to that other channel, you can see similar content to what you're watching now. And yeah, I got the vidIQ. I really want to learn how to put out good content. I want to have there's millions of podcasts, and I'll be surprised if anybody ever even tunes in and listens to my podcast. But I can't think that way. I just got to put out the content. And I'll be honest with you, if I get 1 subscriber a month or 2 subscribers a week or 1 subscriber every 2 weeks, if I have any kind of slow growth moving forward, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling good about it, you know. That's all you can do, you know. And I think that, you know, I'm going to start sharing a little bit more about my lifestyle, you know, me living in Northwest Indiana. And you know, I got some interviews in the back of my head that I want to invite some people. I think there's a lot of interesting things that happened on the southeast side that nobody really knows, you know, or has forgotten about it. So I think I'm going to document more of that, you know. But this is where I'm going to end this little brief reintroduction to my podcast, and I'm going to upload this, and I'm going to try to keep a better schedule. That's my promise to you guys. So I hope if you have any kind of comments or any kind of feedback, I would really appreciate it. Go down there and tell me the things that, you know. I mean, I'm also inviting you to criticize me, you know. And some of you might think I'm a clown. Some of you guys might like what I'm talking about. But that's another thing too. You got to just keep moving forward. If you can't develop thick skin doing this kind of stuff, then don't do it. Because there's so many. Like I said, this is entertainment. This is a part of reality. This is a part of entertainment. This is part of life. You know, being authentic. That's who I try to be. I try to be my best me. You know, and I maybe I share way too much, and maybe I'll look at this video after I get off of here and say, you know what, maybe I said too much. Maybe I need to cut that back. But I won't know until I look at it all. So this is, like I said, this is my comeback to podcasting episode. So talk to you guys soon. See you on the other side.